4 million years ago, our story began. The world was a very different place. Vast grasslands known as savannas stretched across Africa. These plains were broken by patches of dense woodland and life-giving rivers. Here, among the tall grasses and acacia trees, our earliest ancestors took their first upright steps. These were not modern humans. They were hominins, like Australopithecus. They were small, walking on two legs, which gave them a new view of their world. This ability to stand tall allowed them to see over the grass. It helped them spot danger from far away and find safe paths. Life was a constant challenge. Every day was a struggle for survival. These early humans did not have sharp claws or powerful jaws. They were not the strongest or the fastest creatures on the savanna. Their greatest asset was their growing intelligence. They had to rely on their wits to find food and avoid becoming food themselves. The world was filled with formidable predators. The air buzzed with insects, and the ground rumbled with the movement of enormous herds. Our ancestors had to navigate this complex and dangerous landscape. They had to learn its rhythms, its secrets, and its many dangers. Their world was one of immediate and visceral experience. The scent of a predator on the wind was a sign to flee. The sound of a distressed animal could mean an opportunity for a meal. They lived in small, close-knit family groups. These groups provided safety in numbers and a way to share knowledge. They foraged for plants, roots, and fruits. They scavenged for meat left behind by more powerful hunters. Every sunrise brought new risks, but also new opportunities to learn and to endure. Their survival depended on their ability to work together and understand their environment. The African landscape was both a cradle and a crucible. It provided everything our ancestors needed to live, but it also tested them at every turn. They were a new kind of creature, one that relied less on instinct and more on learning and cooperation. Their brains were beginning to grow, allowing for more complex thought and problem-solving. This was the very beginning of the human journey. It was a time of great vulnerability. Yet, it was also a time of incredible resilience. The lessons learned on these ancient plains would shape the destiny of our species for millions of years to come. The dangers our ancestors faced were immense and terrifying. The Pliocene epoch was an age of megafauna. These were giant versions of animals we might recognize today, and some that have no modern equivalent. Imagine a cat with teeth like daggers. The saber-toothed cat, such as Dinophalus, was a master of ambush. It lurked in the tall grasses, a silent and deadly hunter. These powerful predators were a constant threat. A moment of inattention could be fatal. Our small ancestors were an easy target for such a fearsome beast. They had to be constantly vigilant, scanning their surroundings for any sign of movement. It was not just the cats they had to fear. The landscape was home to other formidable creatures. There were giant hyenas, like Pachai crocuta, which were much larger and more powerful than their modern relatives. These were capable of crushing bone with their massive jaws. They were not just scavengers, but also formidable hunters in their own right. Crocodiles, some larger than any alive today, waited patiently in the rivers and waterholes. A simple act of drinking water was fraught with peril. Our ancestors had to approach water sources with extreme caution, knowing that death could be lurking just beneath the surface. The herbivores were also a source of danger. While they did not hunt our ancestors, their sheer size made them a threat. Dinotherium, an ancient relative of the elephant, was enormous. It had strange, downward-curving tusks on its lower jaw. A stampeding herd of these giants could crush anything in its path. There were also giant buffalo and wild boar with sharp tusks. Getting too close to these animals, especially if they were protecting their young, was incredibly dangerous. Our ancestors had to learn their behaviors, giving them a wide berth and respecting their power. Even the skies were not entirely safe. Giant birds of prey soared overhead, searching for small animals. While an adult hominin might have been too large, the young and vulnerable were at risk. The world for our ancestors was a three-dimensional web of threats. Danger could come from the grass, the water, or even the air. To survive in this world required a deep understanding of every animal they shared it with. They had to know their habits, their hunting grounds, and their warning signs. This constant pressure from predators shaped their evolution, favoring those who were smarter and more cooperative. Faced with such overwhelming odds, our ancestors had to be resourceful. They began to use tools. At first, these were very simple. A fallen branch could be used as a club for defense. A sharp stone found on the ground could be used to cut through tough animal hides. This was a revolutionary step. For the first time, a creature was using an object from its environment to overcome its physical limitations. These early tools were not yet carefully crafted. They were objects of opportunity, but they marked the beginning of technology. A simple stone gave our ancestors an edge they desperately needed. Later they made a crucial discovery. They learned to shape the stones themselves. By striking one stone against another, they could create a sharp edge. These were the first deliberately made tools, known as Oldowan choppers. They were simple but incredibly effective. They could be used to butcher a carcass, breaking bones to get to the nutritious marrow inside. This provided a vital source of protein and fat, which helped fuel their growing brains. It also meant they could process a kill quickly, reducing the time they were exposed to other scavengers attracted by the smell of meat. Teamwork was perhaps their most important survival skill. A single hominin was vulnerable, but a group working together was a much more formidable force. They could cooperate to defend themselves against predators. By shouting, waving their arms, and throwing stones, a group could intimidate and drive away even a large carnivore. This social cooperation was essential. They shared food, cared for the young, and watched over each other. This bond of community provided not just physical safety, but also a way to pass knowledge from one generation to the next. The control of fire was another monumental leap forward. It is not certain exactly when this happened, but fire changed everything. A campfire provided warmth on cold nights. It provided light, pushing back the darkness and the unseen terrors it held. Most importantly, it was a powerful deterrent against predators. Few animals would dare to approach the flickering flames. Fire also allowed them to cook their food, making it easier to digest and unlocking more nutrients. The campfire became the heart of the community, a place to gather, share stories, and strengthen social bonds. Survival was not just about tools and teamwork, it was about knowledge. Our ancestors were expert observers. They had to be. Their lives depended on their ability to read the world around them. They watched other animals closely, learning from their behaviors. For example, they might see vultures circling in the sky. They learned that this was a sign of a recent kill. This could mean an opportunity to scavenge for leftovers after the main predator had eaten its fill. This required careful timing and courage, approaching a carcass while other dangerous scavengers might still be nearby. They also learned which plants were safe to eat and which were poisonous. This was a process of trial and error, passed down through generations. They observed what other animals ate. If they saw monkeys eating a particular fruit, it was likely safe for them as well. They learned to identify edible roots, berries, and nuts. They knew the seasons, understanding when certain plants would be ripe. This deep botanical knowledge allowed them to exploit a wide variety of food sources. It made them more adaptable, able to survive even when meat was scarce. It was a library of information held in the collective memory of the group. Our ancestors also learned to understand the behavior of predators. They knew which ones hunted during the day and which hunted at night. They recognized their tracks in the dust and mud. They understood their calls and warning signs. This knowledge allowed them to avoid the most dangerous areas at the most dangerous times. They learned to use the landscape to their advantage. Climbing a tree or a rocky outcrop could provide a safe refuge from a pursuing predator. They used their intelligence to create mental maps of their territory, noting safe places, water sources, and areas of high risk. This process of observation and learning had a profound effect on their minds. It stimulated their brains, encouraging the development of memory, planning, and problem-solving skills. They were not just reacting to their environment, they were actively thinking about it. They began to anticipate events. They could plan a foraging trip based on their knowledge of the landscape and the season. This ability to think ahead, to connect cause and effect, was a key part of what made them human. They were becoming masters of their world, not through strength, but through understanding. The skills our ancestors developed 4 million years ago laid the foundation for everything that followed. Their struggle for survival on the African savanna was the crucible in which humanity was forged. Every challenge they overcame made them smarter, more cooperative, and more adaptable. The simple act of making a stone tool was the first step on a long road that would eventually lead to skyscrapers and spaceships. It was the birth of innovation, the idea that we can shape our world to meet our needs. This ability to create and use technology is a defining characteristic of our species. The importance of teamwork and social bonds cannot be overstated. The need to cooperate for defense and hunting strengthened their communities. It fostered communication, empathy, and the ability to work towards a common goal. These social skills are the bedrock of human society. From those small family groups grew tribes, villages, cities, and nations. Our ability to cooperate on a massive scale is what allows us to achieve incredible things. It all began with the simple understanding that we are stronger together. This legacy of cooperation is as important as any tool they ever made. Their constant observation of the natural world was the beginning of science. It was a systematic gathering of knowledge based on evidence. They learned through trial and error, formed hypotheses about their environment, and tested them every day. This curiosity and desire to understand the world is a powerful driving force in human history. It has led to countless discoveries and advancements. The scientific method, in its most basic form, was being practiced by our ancestors as they learned which plants to eat and how to track animals. Their survival depended on getting the facts right. Ultimately, the story of our early ancestors is a story of incredible resilience. Against all odds, they survived. They endured in a world filled with creatures that were bigger, stronger, and faster. They did it by using their minds, by working together, and by never stop learning. This journey from a vulnerable hominin on the savanna to the dominant species on the planet was long and difficult, but the fundamental skills of innovation, cooperation, and inquiry that ensured their survival then are the very same skills that continue to propel us forward today. We carry the legacy of their struggle within us.